Check the room, looking fly. Caught up the posse, jumped in my ride. Ooh, ooh, radio rockin', monster jams. I just want to know, what exactly was Monica waiting on? She seriously took about 5 L's. For Q? Ugh. Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss love in basketball, y'all. 2000 love in basketball. Now, this is our third Throwback Thursday, and this movie stars Sanaa, Lathan, and Omar, Epps, and so many other beautiful black people. Now, I really deep down inside, in here, was hoping that you guys voted for this movie in particular. I really think it's funny how, with time comes wisdom, and how we can watch a film like this in our teenage years and really revel in it and love it, enjoy it, see it as, oh my God, I can't wait till I get older and someone loves me that much, versus us watching it now when, I don't know, we're 30 and going, no, look at all that's wrong with this. What is going on? Before I get into what we thought about this movie then and how we feel about it now, I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that, and then we're going to come back and discuss all things struggle love. Struggle. It was struggling like, girl, you ain't got to go through all this. You can find a whole nother man. He ain't the only mother in the sea. Hopefully subscribe to see more of me. Let's get into this movie. Now, I cannot speak for anybody else, but I know as far as me, when I was growing up, this movie was so popular, it's not even funny. This, aside from Love Jones, was held as the standard to what Black love was and what we wanted to achieve eventually. Like, this was always in rotation for me on BET and USA, in somebody's house, on the DVD. Like, it was just so, like, it made you convinced that this is what Black love was supposed to look like. And when I get older and when I get, to that point, I can only hope to have a piece of what they have. This is so special. This is so sincere. And this is so deep. Now, I know that apart from that, this is because of the actors who were at bay in this film. Of course, we have Omar Epps coming off of, Juice and, Higher Learning. Very established actor, but for the most part, what movies he starred in, I guess you can consider those, like hood movies, whatever. But this was like his first really big breakout role, to where he was, I guess, like kind of presented in front of the masses. And then we have Sanaa Lathan. Now, me, myself, I'm not the biggest fan of Sanaa Lathan as an actress per se. But I think here, for me, this is her best performance, and she really shines here. Now, a few years ago, it was, let out of the bag. What we always knew at the time, that they were actually in a genuine real life relationship. And I think that added so much to the stories and so much to the scenes and, the exchanges. And it was really great, and it made this story feel so personal. And this movie is also directed by Gina Prince-Bythewood. Now, she is like all things Black love to me when I think about, people really convincing you that struggle love is, good on screen. Now, she has, tried her hand at many things, and even, more so recently, she directed The Old Guard, starring, Charlize Theron. That was on Netflix. I really enjoyed it. It was pretty good. But for the most part, I remember her for, her direction as far as, Beyond the Lights, and Disappearing Acts. You remember HBO, Sanaa, Lathan, and Wesley Snipes? I remember, like, that whole, like, it was real struggle, but it was such a, really compelling, good movie. Like, she made it so good because of how she depicted, if I gave you my love, tell you what I do. You know what I'm saying? Had the whole Al Green refrigerator scene. Like, drop down and tell me if you remember that movie. I remember. But it was so good there with her direction. And also with this being a semi-autobiographical type of situation for her, it was really personal for her. And you can tell where she went in and stepped in and, may have said, I was feeling this. This is what I need you to convey. Like, this was a very personal story for her. And it added so much. This movie has so much depth. And you really felt like you knew these characters and you were on this journey with them. Like, awesome. Now that we have those great actors and actresses and we have this great direction, we get off into the soundtrack. Like, soundtracks and music to movies are really important to me. And here the songs are everything. Like, each and every other scene is a song that you know and love. And with this movie being so, like, synonymous now, you can't even listen to these songs anymore without identifying and connecting them with the movie. Like, for example, if you just sitting, minding your business and you just happen to hear, you ain't thinking about, remember that Maxwell video with all those women? No, you are thinking about that little scene with Monica and Q and them losing their virginity. Or you just got paid Friday night. You were thinking about them at the dance. Like, everything is so connected. The soundtrack here from start to finish is so great and pulls you in because we travel with these, from the time that they are, young kids until they're, grown adults. And we're going, kind of through the 80s and the 90s, 2000. All the music contributes to that. The music played a really big role here. But now that we've gotten into all the things that I feel like make this movie so special, let's get into why, starting off, this story is so alluring and seems so deep when you're younger versus now, you just kind of feel like, oh, this ain't it. So we start off this movie by getting to know our very young characters, and we have this whole girl, boy next door type situations, kids growing up together. And we get to know our lead characters who are very young at this point with our new move-in, Monica, who is portrayed at this point by Kyla Pratt. Kyla Pratt does not get enough praise. She was like everywhere in the 90s and, the upwards of the early 2000s, like great actress. And here she's your quintessential, young girl, kind of tomboy, kind of rough, playing basketball. And, wins when she's versus, the whole Q, girls can't play no basketball, ball better than you. We have that whole situation and we really see them blossom right away. And we build so much with these young characters as soon as the film starts, getting us invested in their love for nothing. And then we get into their parents. Now, Q's parents are portrayed by, are you in good hands? Call Allstate. Is his dad. Like, every time I see this man, all I think of is, are you in good hands? And he's a good man, Savannah. That's all I fucking think of when I see this man now. And then we have his mother, portrayed by the woman in the game who I felt like always had the best dimples in the world, Debbie Morgan. You have seen her in many things, with my favorite being Eve's Bayou. She has been in a plethora of movies. Like, she's always a standout when you see her, very great actress. And then we have, Monica, Kyla Pratt. Her parents portrayed by Affie Wood. Bless her! But I'm so sorry, y'all. That woman has, been in the game for a very long time, has had so many roles, so profound, really good actress. But every time I see her, all I think of is Wanda. Bless her. And then we have her dad, portrayed by Dresser. I've got nothing but love for you, baby. Ay, got nothing but love for you. Talking about the love. Don't give me all five. I've got nothing but love. So much love. You see how I just come out? I've got nothing but love. Nothing but love. Okay. Ain't okay. Not okay. My bad. I'm sorry, y'all. I had a couple drinks before this review. But you know, Dressa is the dad, and you know, we also have the older sister here who will be, you know, eventually be betrayed by, you know, the lovely Regina Hall, who is here, who I always sometimes forget is here because her role is so understated. Now, this was really one of her first roles, and you know, she's not, you know, really burst out here. Doesn't even have, you know, a ton of dialogue, but she is in the movie as well. But with that, we instantly get into, you know, something that is a very important part of this film, you know, their family dynamic, their parents. Whereas we see, you know, Monica parents, you know, mom is kind of a stay-at-home mom, and, you know, dad is in charge. He, you know, makes the income, and she kind of sees that and kind of thinks a certain way about her mom and feels like, you know, she's kind of run down and taking care of the household, taking care of the husband, and, you know, she's not as appreciated, and she feels like, you know, she's stifled. Versus we have Q, you know, his dad is, you know, a basketball superstar. He's very known in the NBA, and Debbie Morgan, the mom character, appears to be very happy, and you see right away he has so much profound respect and all these feelings towards his dad, and kind of feels like he can do no wrong. And we also see a blossoming love happen between them, you know, when he pushes her, and, you know, the whole I'm sorry, and they bring the cake over, and, you know, I know karate from Almighty Isis, bet you can't do this. And we have that whole scene, and we get them, you know, getting up and get ready to go to school, because, you know, you're gonna walk the new girl to school, and it's like, you know, you want to be my girlfriend? It's just like, yeah, sure. Well, you know, I think we have to kiss. Oh, okay. And we have the little kiss, and then he's like, yeah, you know, you need to ride my bike. And I ride, well, I don't want to ride your bike. And then I don't want to be your boyfriend. Well, I don't want to be your girlfriend anymore. Big head. And then you get the roll, and you get the, whoa, sweet thing. It's just so, like, great, and it's so loving and so deep. And then we get to pause. That's like the first and last time he actually made a play for her. But it's at this point that we get into their problematic relationship already. I mean, it's really small, but it's like, well, damn. We meet them, you know, young, pretty much kind of elementary, and then we jump to, boom, senior year in high school. That means I've lived right next door to you all the way from elementary to my senior year, and you ain't checked for me once? Strike one. But it's at this point that, you know, we get into them, you know, they're older, and we step right into, must I say it again? I said it before. Move out the way, we're not coming through the door. Me, heavy, as light as a rock, guys watch. Even some of the girls shock. Hey, we get into that MC Light. I am the light. LLLLLYLYLLYTE. We get into exactly where Miss Monica is. We still have, you know, our same scar from, you know, us being pushed on the ground, but we're still very much our tomboy selves. We're all about basketball, all about doing our best, striving to prove ourselves as an equal player, as a female in high school, striving to go to college with a family who doesn't believe in me. You see right away that her family is already trying to set her up, you know, to work in the bank with her dad. We have our sister, who is very much so girly, very cute, already in college. And then we have, you know, our mom, who hasn't, you know, really invested any time in me as a player. This is my thing. I play basketball. Mom does not care unless you're, you know, very prim, proper, and prissy. She's not here for it. They don't even believe that I can even get a scholarship. I'm struggling. Versus Q, cool ass Q, already on deck to go to college, been accepted, very much popular, can have any, you know, itch he wants to, very much, you know, cocky, like, you was already here and you ain't checked for me once. We get into the school dance, and, you know, you really see where they are at this point with, you know, him watching her play versus her watching him play. Now, first of all, with him watching her play, like, we was set up in the back, had our foot on the wall, looking at girls walk by all cool with our hat on. Then we see Monica watching him play. She's very invested, you know, holding her ball, in awe of him as a player. Both of them are really compassionate players, all about basketball. And then we get into, you know, Gabrielle Union's character trying to get a little piece of that. Gabrielle Union in the 90s was the quintessential mean girl, bitch girl. If you needed that black girl in those movies, she was the go-to. She was there. And you get into that car ride. Look, big head, I'll be at your car. We get into that car ride and you really see where they stand there. Because, they're talking, back and forth. And you see already that he is kind of, a male chauvinist. Because it's like, you can talk smack, jump in some guy's face. But when I do it, I get told, to calm down. I get flagged. Like, you don't understand where I'm coming from. And it's already like a disconnect there. It's like, you don't understand. Me as a player, I'm a female. I have to prove myself. We should be able to, to be treated the same way. Already a strike there. And then you get into the date and he's like, oh, Shawnee with the big ass titties, give me that number. Like, nah. But you get into him trying to play her. Like, who you going to? Who you going with the dance with? Like, you going with that basketball? Like, really? You don't even think I could get a date? Trash. But right about now at this moment, we're trivial. But that's when we get more into kind of inkling into his home life with him going home. And, the mom being kind of worried, kind of stressed out. And, the dad spending more and more time away from home. And them, arguing a little bit more and all of those things. And, it just being kind of hectic for him in his home life. But where does he go to escape that? Right there to his neighbor Monica's bedroom, where he is able to sleep on her floor and get away from things. And the way she threw him that pillow and that blanket, this is a every, week occurrence. Like, she has been your safe haven, but you weren't checking for her. We get into, the deal breaker for Monica, because at this point she hasn't been accepted into any colleges, and she knows that a scout is coming to this game and there's so much riding on it and it's so important to her. And Q knows this as well as her family. And it's at this point in the film, even with, Q and his family being, the argument and the back and forth, you get into their family dynamics. And I think the one thing I did like about this movie is, the discussion of, generational, curses being passed down and things you see within your home really affect you as an adult in your adulthood. But you see her, this is really, important. And, she's trying so hard, but she loses the game so much that no matter, how tough and tomboyish she is, she breaks down and cries at this game because it's just like, damn, I'm not going to get into college. Q knows this as he sees her break down. Do we see him reach out to her and try to be there for her in her moment? No. But you have this discussion, with the sister, prior to the game, this, how does love, feel and what's this? And you get, you're under the impression that, has she ever even had a boyfriend? She hasn't even, been, out into the world to, seek, anything outside of basketball. You haven't even had a real relationship or a real boyfriend. It's been all about basketball for her. So she doesn't really know what that feels like. All she knows is that first encounter with her neighbor, that first kiss with Q. So we didn't know anything outside of that, which is what I think kept us holding on for so long. But anyway, we get into, more rundown bullshit from the mom, who only sits and really takes any moment in the entire film to invest time in her daughter when she's getting, beautified and girly to go to a dance. Like, Mom, this is not me. This is, a momentary thing. I'm glad you think I look beautiful and you let me wear your pearls. But where were you at every single one of all those games I had when I needed your support to just invest in me and my interest as a person? I shouldn't have to be this for you to talk to me. More generational bullshit. But she, says, honey, child, please, you look gorgeous. Bless her. Go to the dance. But then, y'all, that's when we get to the dance, y'all. Check the moves. Ooh, ooh. The soundtrack at the dance was popping. But not only are we getting into the soundtrack, we get into this date that our sister has set up for us. Courtesy of Boris, fine-ass Boris Kojo, takes us to the dance. And, we do that awkward reveal because, I'm not, into this shit here wearing this dress. But I'm here. I'm going to try. And that's when you check for me. You sitting there dancing with Gabby with all her jugs popping in your face. But no, you only check for me after 10 plus years of living next door to your ass when I'm wearing a dress. Strike three. I used to love that scene growing up. I just thought that dance was so romantic. But now it's just like, oh, now you see me? But you see him not only notice her, but notice oh, not only are you, girl, you kind of fine, and you brought a date. Somebody brought you. He was low-key trying to play her. And she's having conversation. It's very awkward. She has no experience. That's what killed me later on watching this movie. She has no experience with any other guys outside of freaking Q. But you see him at that moment reach out to her and kind of, still kind of coy, still kind of cocky. I'm feeling you. I'm kind of liking you. I think you look nice in your dress, but I'm not going to actually say that. I'm going to come here and be coy and try to strike up conversation and then be kind of upset when the guy who actually brought you to the dance take you to the dance floor and dance with you. Like, girl, she was tripping. If I would have been at the dance with, and that wasn't like later Boris Kodjoe, even though he will always be fine. This was like soul food. And that's the way that it goes. That's the way it goes. It's really good for the soul. This was soul food, Boris Kodjoe. And you was like not checking for Boris, for Omar short ass. But okay. But they're dancing. And then that's when we get into more of that soundtrack. We've already, been sitting and bobbing to It's My Prerogative by Bobby Brown. And then we get into that really close, sensual, slow, I wanna be your man. I wanna be your man. You get into that dance and you see him giving her that I want you, like I'm feeling you, I want to be with you, and it's so deep and kind of sexy, and it's like I'm so distracted from who I'm with, her date too, that I just can't stop looking at you. Does he say anything to her? No. Does he tell her one time, you look beautiful, I rank on you a whole lot, but you look really good tonight? No. Does he ask her to dance? No. We just look at her and continue grinding with Gabby. And then we get into more plays of her making a play for him and him not checking for her. We all get into, the date and where'd y'all go and all these things, like trying to be on some jealousy stuff. What do you have to be jealous and, upset about? You didn't ask me to go. And we get into, the meat and potatoes of what's really important. Her getting into school and him opening that letter to let her know you did get into UCLA. Despite you losing the game, they saw you and thought you were worth something. And she's so happy and so excited that she kisses Q, because she's making all the first moves, because it's like he's just not that into you type of moment. Like, oh, yeah, like whatever. It was made to look like a sincere moment because it was kind of supposed to be like, well, I choose you. I could have slept with her, but I didn't. I just took her home. She was throwing it in my face, but I took her home because I would have preferred to be with you. But did he actually say that? No. We get this whole machi mantra, man-like stuff. And this, parlays into, a rumble in the grass and her losing her virginity. And it's like, now this is a sweet scene. I don't know. It always rubbed me the wrong way. When she's holding herself and he's smirking at her like, girl, get your hand off them little bitties. Ain't nobody checking for them. Like, what you smirking at? This is my first time, boy. Be cute and be gentle. Like, why you smirking? But it's, a very great scene. And it's very authentic as for, the people out there who's lost, their virginity. And they have, it's very like, I love the way that the scene was handled. It wasn't very graphic. You didn't really see much of her. You do know that the both of them was naked, but the way it was shot, the whole cinematography of this film makes everything feel really personal. The styling around their house, around their school. It feels like you're growing with them at every moment. So when you actually see her lose her virginity, even though when you're older, you may not be feeling cute, it's just like, oh, like this is so special. This is such a special moment for her. I also love in this movie, they took out a moment to actually show him putting on protection. We don't get that in a lot of films. It's just always like, whoop, I'm in there. Like, no, we actually see him, take out time to open the condom, show him, put it on, and, the whole effects of, actually using your virginity in that motion. Very beautifully shot, very great scene, and you really, build something with them in that moment. And you see not only has she kind of carried a torch from him since they were, young, she is, currently, this is, not only, her sexual experience, but this is her first one. So she has a personal, never-ending bond with this person. Did he have that with her? Because You see her make the first move and her invite him sexually into her bedroom. You do see him, really physically take his time with her. He looks so experienced compared to her. But you see that though he hasn't physically and mentally really paid attention to her, when she's trying to remember how many fouls she had in, the tournament, he says you had 4. So he has been watching her, physically, play basketball. You have been invested in her in that sense only, but not even enough to share that with her like Quincy was a player. But at this point, we get into their college years. But getting into their college years, you really start to see a change in their relationship. Now, that is such a rough area for any relationship. If you're coming from high school, going into college, things change so much. But you see that, she is really struggling as a player, trying to find her place, trying to even get a spot, trying to shine on this team of, established players. She's being kind of taunted and picked on by the team, that whole thing. Like, it's just so much for her. Versus Q, who is still the superstar, still very well popular, known on campus, ladies checking for him, that whole thing. Versus her, you got bitches in the locker room leaving weights on your chest. Like, it's a whole, ain't no freshman taking my spot. Like, bitch, I will shoot you up in here. Like, it's it's so much for her. But you still see them, carry something for each other up until things change for him. We even have that whole scene where, do what you get again. Like, her reveling in the shot because she's so used to that in high school. Like, I have time to linger. Like, oh, look at that shit. And it's just like, yeah, I want you to stay like that, bitch. Don't move. We don't do that here. We don't do that here. Leave your arm up again. Say something again. Leave your arm up again. It's like, well, damn, we have that whole thing. Like, it's a whole real struggle for her. And you see them, talk about it and ice each other down. And that's what we get into. I like, there's so many memorable scenes here, which I can see, on the outside looking in with hindsight. Like with her losing her virginity and how special that was and how relatable that was, that, makes this movie special. Or, the whole I like, about, yeah, jam. Oh, jam. Get the whole guy scene, them playing, For Your Heart, kind of setting it up later. And it's like, I won. It's like, because, I wanted you to. And it's a whole, a whole play on, basketball. Really cute, really sexy. We've seen this, scene in videos and things like that, reimagined so many times. Like, it's a cute scene. And that's all this was. It was cute. But to me, it was another instance of us just really seeing them revel in each other as far as basketball is concerned. You didn't really see a lot of growth in their relationship through this whole movie, just based off of their relationship, their interests outside of basketball, them getting to know and loving each other just as people. Everything in this fucking movie was about basketball. And I do know, hey, the movie's called Love and Basketball, but still, there are so many other entities that are involved in having a real endearing relationship. But it seems like, especially on his part, it was so much about basketball. And, we have that whole scene when they, you do see me standing here, right? And they fall in the grass. And it's like, none of these girls can hold a candle to you because they don't play basketball. You do. I just would have loved to know, like, what he saw in her that made her special outside of that. Yes, this is something we have in common. Yes, this is something we both love, but I'm more than basketball and you are too. Who are we outside of this? We wasn't shit, because soon as that was gone, we wasn't nothing. But it's at this point that we see the big change happen in the film, and we get this whole montage of, Q being a superstar and being an NBA prospect to the point that he's on the news and, he's already being scouted. And you still have, scenes of his father coming in, dropping knowledge and saying all these things. And he has so much admiration for him. And he also brings up the whole paternity situation. If you hear something about that, it's not what it is. Like, hey, because, NBA players don't cheat on their wives. Like, Q, what you thought this was? What you thought this was, Q? Like, all them niggas cheat. Like, stop it. And then we get into Monica, who is trying really hard to stand out on her team. You see her practicing nonstop, dribbling both of them balls at the same damn time, and her like being really hungry to prove herself against, Cedra, who's, throwing it up in her face every single moment that, you weren't even gonna be recruited. Somebody got pregnant and couldn't come. Girl, you were an afterthought. Like, girl, get out of here with that. She is trying to tear her down along with, the people, her opponents. Like, she's working so hard for this spot. And you have Q here. Things are coming so easy and so great for him. In the moment they don't, shit flip-flops. The moment he finds out, that his mom is, really emotional and crying, and you have, that Marvin Gaye playing in the background, and she tells him, like, these aren't just rumors. This has really been going on with your father. We kept it a secret, but this is what he's been doing for years. I, hired a private investigator. I'm so hurt. Like, how could he? Blah, blah, blah. And he's just so hurt, and he just cannot take it, cannot handle it. And rather than handle it like the adult he is, though we are in college, we know how to, contain our emotions and handle them. We know how to do a whole lot that's the opposite of what Q did. Not only do we not handle our emotions well, but we do go, as we should, and try to go and vent to our girlfriend and talk to her. But at that moment, you see her trying to be there and be supportive in every sense of the way that she can in the time frame that she has. But he wants her to stay and just talk with him all night. It's just like, no, I have to be in by a certain time. I'm, a brand new player. I have a curfew. And if I'm not in by this certain time, like, I'm off the team. I lose this. I can't jeopardize what I've been working hard for all this time since this is all I could dream about. Now that I'm here and I'm also fighting for a spot, I can't jeopardize that for curfew. And we just don't freaking understand that and take it personal because she can't stay. What? Me as your neighbor for however many years, your girlfriend from senior year all the way up until now, the person who's been here for you, I just rub ice on your balls. You can't understand where I'm coming. As a basketball player, you're a fellow basketball player. If we can't connect through anything, we can connect from that. And you can't understand me needing to leave and talk to you tomorrow for my spot? What? How selfish can you be? How? Q, depicted on screen, is one of the most low-key selfish men in a relationship that I have ever seen. And it's so understated here and meant to be thrown in our face instantly. Like, initially, it kind of looks like, wow, damn, she couldn't stay there for him. Us looking at this as, teens. She couldn't stay there, girl. You could just stay for him. Where were you when he needed you? He needed you there. But us looking at it from a college age standpoint, an adult standpoint, no. This is an important priority of mine. And that's not to say that you aren't, but I have to go. And if you can't understand that, kick rocks. She should have made his ass kick rocks. And then we add insult to injury. We have a really big moment for her where she finally shines on his team, uses that move and she knocks her ass out on the ground. But that's, don't make me use basketball terminology, child. But, it's seen as a foul and she, gets the win for the team. And it's a really big moment for her. So big that the coach offers her that spot on the team and she takes Cedra's spot. Yeah, get your ass out of here. You ain't taking my spot. No, bitch, I took it. And what? But we have, Q on the opposite end of the spectrum. He's, down. And he's so far down that he's lost the game and he's just not there. This is, quintessentially seems like the very next day or so. We come into this, this college party and him coming in, not only not wanting to talk to her when she's, now that I do want to have this talk with you about your dad. We need to converse, honey. I'm here for you, babe. No, I'm drunk and I'm trying to go lay you at. What? And then you take offense because you give me this big sloppy drunk kiss and I'm not interested in that. And you're not trying to hear me and you walk off. Man, that just made me think of the soundtrack. That's when we do what you like. Hey, I see guys and girls dancing. Hey. Do what you like. Ba-ba-da. I see guys and girls that now as the record spins around. Oh man, R.I.P. to Humpty. Great soundtrack, but it just, you saw instantly that there was no real give and take in their relationship. If things couldn't be on Q's terms, when he wanted it, how he wanted him, he didn't want him. What was she waiting for again? And then we get even further into him pulling away, after we leave the party. I want to rock right now. I'm my Bates and I came to get down. I'm not internet. Don't blame me, y'all. Like, all the songs were here. But we get into, a brief meeting with his father, after we leave, Shedra and her broke ass leg. Girl, we don't care about your broke leg. You ain't on the team no more. Get out of here. You was talking all that hype shit. It's all cute until you get hurt. But we get into, this brief moment with his dad, and he's trying to connect with his son again to, go, hey, even though this is this, I'm still your dad. I still love you. He's not trying to hear it. And it just breaks him to the point that he cries. Then we get into, you gon', like, what were you waiting for, Monica? Not only do we take that moment to not be sincere and not be grown enough to talk about our feelings in our relationship when I'm trying to, we take this moment to be even more selfish and bring another bitch to the dorm to take out on the date. And then you bring Ebony, you bring Players Club Ebony. I just came to dance. I just came to dance for y'all. That's it. We bring Ebony. We bring Ronnie, Ebony. We take that hoe to Burger King. Like, you come here and you throw, like, what was she waiting for? You bring this and you throw this in my face out of nowhere. Like, I'm just showing up as your girlfriend and you here when I just came to dance. That's like, that's like strike 10. Yeah. And then we get into the, that big fight outside of the dorm, which shows you how immature that he is. And he's not ready for the type of give and take relationship that he wants. Like, if I stayed, I wouldn't have started. That night you wanted to talk about your dad, I heard curfew. What was I supposed to do? Stay. Selfish. What the hell you mean stay? And I lose my spot and then what? It was just so, like, selfish and just so immature. Like, I took the whole Burger King. Like, I wouldn't even fuck with, like, you did all this to prove a point. Who does that? There was just nothing here. I feel like he was there just to save their friendship as friends. It wasn't for them as a relationship. That's why it was so easy for him to get mad and walk away from her. And, I think we need some time apart. I need to take a break. I'm going pro. That whole situation that was lingering the whole film, will he or won't he? And his dad really, as an athlete, like, no, I know what it is to not finish college. I think you need to finish so, you'll have something to fall back on. He was trying to be spiteful. Like, no, I don't want to be nothing like you, man. I see what you are and I know what you're about. To spite you, I'm going pro. We didn't consider Monica in this decision. It was just like, yeah, this is what it is. I hope we can still be friends. And she's left there like this. There was too many moments of Monica lingering like this. Friends. I think we should just be friends. I'll see you around. What you mean you gonna see me around? What, you gonna see me next door? Because I stay next door. It was so heartless and inconsiderate for him to do that to her and end things like that. Like, oh man, like, what was there to keep her? I think the only thing that kept her at that moment was that she was inexperienced, and all the way from being a child to now being a college student, she hadn't experienced anybody else. She didn't even date any other man. It was just Q and all about Q and only Q. So she had nothing to compare it to. So she decided to take that and chalk it up to him having a bad moment and still pine away from him once we're all the way in our last quarter. Fuck that. So after we leave, stupid ass words like, I'm going through a lot of shit now. Obviously more than you have time for. How are you going to tell me what I have time for? And Monica says the dumbest shit. Whatever I did, we can fix this. Girl, what you do? You ain't do nothing? What she do? You ain't do nothing. Stupid. But it's it's at this point that we jump to a whole 5 years later, 5 years later when they finally decided to do something outside of that school dance with Monica's hair. Because she had that ponytail the whole time. Like, I just wanted to put it needed a little bit more body. But we get into that whole time. That means that whole time on campus, y'all done went to school. Well, she done went to school. He went pro, but like, he ain't checked for you this whole time, boo. But we get into, her being in Barcelona and being a star on the team and her playing Cedra. And you even see all the way with her being in Spain, she still hasn't had a life romantically outside of Q. It's just strictly been basketball. And you see, even with Cedra talking to her, like, you're not interested in any of these men. Like, and it's like, no, she looks absolutely miserable. Cut to Q. His life hasn't planned out as much as he wanted it to. You see him, I don't know, it's like, I guess he's reinforcement, like, don't make me do terminology. I guess he's like second string or something. But he's not, the star anymore. He's older. I love the transitions that they use. They're very subtle because, black don't crack. But they're very subtle, with the mustache and the goatee and her maturing as far as hair. And they really aged them well here as far as, teenage all the way until them being full-form adults. But you see that things have changed for him drastically to, where he falls and that very, big injury of him tearing his ACL. And you see that mom has moved on and the father comes in. Are you in good hands? He comes in and you see that there's still a very big strain on their relationship. And they have that big talk and it, turns into, how come you couldn't make me the man that, you were pretending to be? Why couldn't you just be that? It's just like, I couldn't, son. And he's trying to reach him, but at that point, he's still just not trying to hear it. After we get into, him still having this chip on his shoulder that he let affect his whole relationship. Real mature, right? We get into Monica, seeing what happened. It's like, oh my God, I haven't talked to him so long. And he hasn't reached out to me, even though he told me that he was going to dump me and he was hoping we could still be friends and he was going to see me around. Yeah, he ain't reached out to me this whole time. But I'm going to go because this is a serious injury. And she sews up and is, very sincere. And, she's happy to see him. And she still has that great romantic, loving connection with him that they had all the way from childhood. Does Q still have that? No. Q engaged to Tyra Banks with her non-acting ass. Yeah. Let me get you some water. Yeah. Smize. He's engaged to Tyra Banks. Like, not only has this man not checked for you, called you, looked at you, breathed on you for 5 years, but he is engaged to be married, happily married to someone else. And she's standing there yet again with the egg on her face that she's had far too many times. Too many L's. Move on, girl. Move on. So after we leave, Quincy, semi-reaching out to her because he didn't really reach out to her in the way that she would have wanted him to. Because you hear him say, I tried to call you a couple of times, when you made this team or, when Magic. It's all still relating to basketball because that's all the fuck he ever cared about anyway in relation to her. But whatever, we get into her being in her feelings, about this marriage and her going to her mom. And we see a quick moment. I really wish that this movie would have really dove into the parents more and their feelings towards those situations so we could have got more of resolutions. But, things are just kind of put out there and then they're not discussed. But we get into her, that riff with her mom and her feeling like they can't relate to each other. And that whole, bitch ass slap in the kitchen. And her saying, everybody was at my games with you. Where were you? And it's like, you didn't appreciate me as a mom. You only see me as a homemaker. You don't see me as, a real person. Like, you look down on me as your mother. And you see with her interaction that she does see some truth in that. But we explore that a little bit with Monica feeling like, I don't really talk to you about anything else. But, what should I do in this instance? He's getting married and you knew about it and you didn't tell me. And we have this big blowout and slap in the kitchen and I'm more than that and I had dreams and we don't discuss it anymore. But then we get into, her just feeling like basketball isn't fun anymore. And she's going to work at this bank with her dad and she's taking a break, wearing a dress, fresh press, all those things. And we also get into Q, who is, completely healed up from his surgery and looking forward to his marriage. And him also saying, I don't think basketball is fun anymore either. I kind of been feeling that. I'm kind of, we're on another plane, but they both can't really identify why. She knows exactly why basketball isn't fun anymore. He has no clue. It's like, I tore my ACL. I have a lot going on. I've healed. It's a lot to go through. He's not thinking about her, but she's thinking about him this entire movie. Like, what were we waiting for again? But after we leave, Quincy sort of kind of letting her know, like, I care for you, but not really saying everything. We just get into everything being placed up on her in this whole entire relationship, as it has been since the very beginning. You see right from that visit in the hospital that he still has some type of feelings for her. But everything from that visit to the hospital into, that great conversation in front of the house to say, why isn't basketball fun for you anymore? I'm feeling the same thing, but I'm not going to say I'm feeling it because I miss you, because I love you, because I still have feelings. We're not going to exactly say that. We're going to place everything up on her and still equate and relate every situation to basketball, because that's all we have going for us. Oh, why don't you want to play basketball? Oh, I'm not really feeling it. Oh, like, there was no instance in that whole scenario for him to say, I still want you. I still want to be with you. It was never mentioned. All she was going off of was her personal feelings. Everything was put up on her as if she was the sole person in this relationship, and she was the sole problem. She was not the problem here. His ass was. But we get all the way up into the point that it's 2 weeks before we're supposed to remarry. Deja, I really love, Deja, higher learning, Tyra Banks. We get all the way to that point and we still don't say anything. And the only moment that Monica has a revelation is when her mom says, when I said he could do better, I was talking about you. I love your fire, girl. Try harder. What the fuck is she trying harder for? No. Ugh. But we get into them once again, meeting and talking, and her confiding in him first, expressing herself first. These feelings I have for you aren't going away. I don't mean to spring this on you now before your wedding, but I love you. Do you love me? So, do we reciprocate these feelings? Do we tell her right away? No. So what does she do? I challenge you to a game, because, she's chasing after him. She's chasing him. Ain't been no chasing on his part this entire movie. Nothing in the span of 5 years to say, I have feelings for you. I still love you. Nothing. And we're about to get married. We say we still have feelings. I still love you. I want to be with you. My feelings aren't going away. I'm stuck to you like glue. Don't reciprocate a thing. Turns around like you don't pull this shit on me. What do you want? I'm getting married. I'm not trying to hear it. Until we break down, you know what? If we do this, I'll leave you alone. I want to play you for your heart. If you let me win because I wanted to, then maybe you'll let me do it now. What? I can remember back then thinking that this particular scene was so beautiful and so heartfelt. And we get that deep song by, Michelle. You made a fool of me. Tell me what, we get all deep into it. Does he, have any? He plays completely heartless in emotion, void of emotion this whole game. And you see her trying so hard, trying to give her all. He breaks her off a whole piece when he takes that damn brace off. And she's trying so freaking hard to play him for his heart that he wants to give her, but won't show it and won't say it and wants her to earn it and fight for it. For what? For what? But we have, that deep, won't look me in the eye. No time, no pressure, no love. Like, it's just, she feels so defeated and she's trying so hard and she loses and she misses the shot. Like, she's really out here trying to play this man to be with him, when in actuality he wants to be with her also, but isn't man enough to say it and wants her to do everything as if she was wrong. No. Fuck you, W. Fuck you, Q, W, Z, Y. Fuck you. But we get all the way into the point that she loses, and this asshole says, all is fair in love and basketball. Where? 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 We get all the way, you see her, try to be strong and hold face in front of him until he, starts to walk off. And she's walking off, it's all limp, and she's like, breaking down on the inside like my man is lost. All hope is lost. He about to get married. And this bitch says all or nothing. I choose the nothing. I choose the nothing. You let me play this whole game and embarrass myself, hurt my feelings, cut me down, left me for 5 fucking years, didn't say a word to me outside of a good game ass type conversation, left me alone at the dorm, broke up with me, took Ebony, I just came to dance, to fucking Burger King, had an attitude with me, had all my whole virginity, and has been the only man that I feel like, damn, did she even sleep with anybody else in that span? Is he her first, last, and only type shit? This whole time. And then you let me walk away and only after I'm broken tell me all or nothing, and we turn around and have this strong embrace as to go, oh, this is so deep. Oh, he took her back. He really loves her. Where? Are we sure? Does he? Did he? Oh, no. And then we break off into this long, embrace, this whole kiss. And we leave off with him supporting her in this WNBA and them having a daughter as if that makes everything okay. Like, they're happy now? I guess, girl, you a good one. Because I want to be there for it. Like, this was such, like, struggle love solidify. Like, but it was, undercover as a love story. But it was struggle ass love. Like, this was all her doing the chasing, doing the loving, doing the support, and him just not giving a damn. And then later giving a damn when he, has to be without it for a few years. And it's just like, oh yeah, I do kind of prefer you, girl. I'll take you back. All or nothing. Double or nothing. Yo mama. But you guys, that was my review for Love and Basketball. As you can see, when you watch stuff, later on and then you watch it again, it could have a totally different meaning. I really hope you guys identified and liked this review. Please drop down and tell me when is the first time you saw this movie. When is the last time you saw it? How do you feel about it? If you've never seen it, you should probably go and watch it. But, this was a fun review. I'm still thinking about it, but I may still give you guys a whole poetic justice situations. I'm not totally sure, but I still do kind of want to touch on that because poetic justice was my movie. But, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.